Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. William Samoei Ruto has declared that Tanzania's election, where Samia Suluhu was, of course, declared a winner, that there was no democracy there. In other words, the declaration of William Ruto shows how truly the Tanzanian election was not free and fair.
We have recent elections in Tanzania, your neighbour. The President, Samia Suluhu Hassan, the winner, declared 97% support. That's like North Korea. Is there still democracy in Tanzania?
It's not for me to judge Tanzania. It is...
It seems a bit fishy, 97%, doesn't it?
Well, in a democracy, for example, in Kenya, you can never get 96%.
So it's not a democracy anymore then?
That is you saying. Every country have a way of them doing their stuff. But I think the primary thing is democracy is the best governance system. It's not tidy always. It is not always easy, you know, because there are all manner of moving parts. But I think we must work together to ensure that we protect democracy.
So look at one of your other neighbors, Uganda.
You know? So I think we should stick to democracy, and we must also always give ourselves the opportunity to listen to the alternative view, to look at the alternative without injecting violence into the equation.
So look at one of your other neighbours, yes. Uganda. Elections coming up very soon. President Museveni has been there for nearly 4 decades, and there were real questions about whether there were free and fair elections last time. His opponent, Bobby Wine, was under effective house arrest. How worried are you about those elections and whether they're going to be free and fair? Because this affects the climate of the whole region, does it not?
I attended President Museveni's swearing in last election, and I think he got 57% of the vote. He didn't get 90. So I think there is room for us to work on democracy is work in progress, and I think it spans different, different stages. There are countries like Kenya that are way ahead. There are others that are catching up. There are others that are still not yet started, and we see it changing everywhere. We see, for example, in the West, people moving more right, others moving in the left, and everything in between. So there is a dynamic globally that is changing, and society is responding to different characters. Who expected, for example, that we would have the kind of situation we had in the US in the previous election? Nobody expected that Congress would be attacked, that Capitol Hill would be attacked. That looked like far-fetched. Today, that's the world we live in. I mean, there is all manner of issues coming up.
And of course, I know why William Ruto is trying to distance himself from the re-election of Mama Samia Suluhu. No wonder he never attended the swearing-in ceremony, and he sent Kindiki Kithure. When you look at how this issue of William Ruto declaring that he doesn't believe in what came up, where Samia Suluhu won the election with 98% votes, which, according to democracy, it is not possible. It is impossible. A democratic country, you will find that a presidential candidate that has won election will either get a 50% plus one or more than that. But a 98% vote is not making any sense. Even in US, you'll see we have Democrat and we have Republican. You'll find that the winning will show the democracy. But a country like Tanzania, that all voters, almost all of them, voted for one candidate, it is impossible. So William Ruto knew that in reality, he cannot defend Samia Suluhu. And the truth of the matter is, William has realized there's a problem in Tanzania, and of course, in Uganda, where he even mentioned Yoweri Museveni, where he was asked, why is it that also in Uganda, we are seeing the current president is dealing with the opposition not in accordance to the law. The same thing Samia Suluhu used. So about William Ruto also, remember, is looking forward to be re-elected. And being re-elected, of course what we see is that William Ruto wants to use the same tactics that Mama Samia Suluhu used, the same thing Museveni is using, and the same thing Paul Kagame is using. In other words, in East African bloc, we have a big problem whereby we have dictators. You have Mama Samia Suluhu, who was just crowned the other day as a dictator. Museveni is a dictator, crowned long time ago. Paul Kagame the same, despite of him, we are being told that Rwanda is not so bad. But no one can defeat Paul Kagame as much as he is alive. So those are the tricks that William Ruto is like, okay, I might not defend these individuals to show that I'm supporting them in their type of dictatorial leadership, but I will stand and say the reality that a democratic country, of course, cannot have 98% or 99% voting for one candidate. So when I saw William Ruto saying so, this statement has not been received well by Tanzanians. They are feeling like Ruto is going against their wish, of course. So I think for me, let me say this. William Ruto is one of those individuals who are trembled and are so scared that whatever is waiting them come 2027 is so hot and it might not favor them anytime, any soon. So for William Ruto to come and say the reality is that he is in fear. Of course, what the people are seeing is not what was expected in Tanzania. Because Mama Samia Suluhu inherited from John Pombe Magufuli, who died while in power. So they never thought like Mama Samia Suluhu was going to be so dictatorial. Ladies and gentlemen, for more updates, subscribe, like, comment, and share this video till we meet in another video.